Today's video is sponsored by Rise of Kingdoms. With the impending release of the Gears of War 5 Xbox One X, we have now 5 different Xbox One X designs that you can regularly buy. So that means it's time for us to rank them. So kicking things off in 5th place is the regular black Xbox One X. Now I know what some are going to be saying right away. What are you talking about? The black one is the best looking design. We always wanted a black Xbox One and it's finally here. And it's true. I actually do think this is a great looking system, and honestly I like the look of all the One X's on this list. But we have to start somewhere, so black is the first one. Now the reason for this is primarily the fact that the Xbox One X in black is just a very basic design, but at the same time I feel like it's still just a little too simple and plain for me. I want to see just a little bit more color or something else going on with it. That being said, I still think it's a really good looking system, and something that works really well with the all black aesthetic is that with the redesigned Xbox One X body, it just has this really cool monolithic look that works really well in tower mode as opposed to the traditional kind of just set flat design. Something else it does an amazing job of too is hiding the disc slot. On the One S designs, the disc slot was put in the middle of the main body and it breaks it up, and I think that worked well with some of the more colorful or bright designs. Like with the white One S, I think there's a cool level of contrast. But with the One X, by moving it down to the little crevice area, it hides it and keeps one whole body on the top, which looks really nice with a solid color. With this one being completely blacked out both top and bottom, it ends up causing it to be honestly almost hard to find. I've even had situations where if I know someone that actually hasn't used a One X before and they try to put a disc in it, they go, where does it go? I don't know there's nothing here. And that's honestly really cool. Before moving on, I want to take a second to thank Rise of Kingdoms for sponsoring today's video. Now if you haven't heard of it, Rise of Kingdoms is a free-to-play mobile game with millions of players worldwide. It has you building your own kingdom using one of 11 civilizations with their own unique style and units, with even more to come. You can even use actual historical heroes to lead your armies. You can ally with other players to battle against other alliances, or work together to claim territories that grant all of you extra resources. Battles take place in real time right on the world map, so whether you're attacking another alliance or helping out one of your allies, it's all happening in real time where you can see your 3D characters duke it out. One of the coolest things about the game though is just how huge it is. You can zoom out as much as you want to see the map, and it is enormous, fitting all players and NPCs in one place. As you explore the world, you'll not only find other players' kingdoms, but all kinds of different hidden treasures to help you advance your civilization from the Bronze Age to the Feudal Age. Make sure to check out the link down below in the description to download and play Rise of Kingdoms today, and use this promo code to net yourself a bunch of different bonus resources, including 200 gems, 2 silver keys, and 100,000 food and wood. Coming in at 4th place is the Gold Rush Edition Xbox One X. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, we actually don't have that one on hand. We have the other ones we're talking about, but we picked that one up when it first came out and ended up having to return it for reasons. There was a lot going on at the time, we didn't have time to do a video on it, and point is, it's not here. So, that one's missing, but I still think it's a cool looking design and at least ranks above the traditional basic one. Now if you guys haven't seen this design before, the Gold Rush was actually a system that was bundled with Battlefield 5, and it wasn't really themed specifically for Battlefield, but it's a color choice that I think still fit the game rather well. And it made use of a sort of gradient effect that they've done with quite a few other special Xbox One X's that we'll be talking about in a little bit. But it featured, instead of a solid color approach like we've seen on a lot of the One S's, instead featured having black on one side or maybe more of a dark gray that slowly shifted closer and closer to being more of a golden hue, almost a lot like sand actually. I think it's actually a really cool design choice and something that separates it from how they've handled multiple colors in past systems like the One S's, where I think solid color works really well, but having this gradient is something that makes it just a little more unique. And also has it line up really well with the Xbox One Shadow Controller series, which feature that same kind of aesthetic of dark on one side going to some other color. Something that's been really interesting about the way that Microsoft has been approaching Special Edition Xbox One systems the last few years is that they've really been downplaying having intricate special designs as regular store-bought versions, but also at the same time making lots more really crazy unique designs in very limited run. For instance, they did I want to say it was Taco Bell with a special Platinum Edition Xbox One X, which is kind of like the Gold Rush, but instead of that gold to black, it was a very light gray silver design that was really nice looking. And kind of a next level up to that, they've done a lot of different promotional designs too that celebrate different specific games. That again, they didn't make a large store push, but still ended up distributing a few out into the wild. For instance, there was this really awesome looking yellow Cuphead design that I saw a few people grab, and we were actually lucky enough to receive a similar promotion when they were releasing Crackdown 3, which was this awesome white, black with blue trim design. And honestly, I could go on forever listing all the many different special edition Xbox One S and One X's they've done in these kind of limited fashions. But if there's one specific one that really I think needs talking about, it's the Tomb Raider design. This was a limited one that I want to say they made only 2 of, and one of which I know was given away as a charity auction, and it is one of the most insane looking special editions I've ever seen, because it wasn't just a matter of like, here's an Xbox in a special color with some little designs, maybe a little bit of etchings. It actually had stuff kind of built on top of it to give it this ancient rune look that was truly just insane. I mean, it makes sense that it's not something that was made available for regular purchase, because I'm sure making that thing was a lot more expensive than the standard Xbox One design, but it really does stand out as one of the more interesting, unique, and truly just gorgeous looking special edition systems that they have made. What's cool about a lot of these limited run systems too is that they illustrate a point that you don't necessarily have to rely on getting a regular system, because a lot of these special edition systems, not all of them, but a lot of them, including the Crackdown design we have, are actually just really well made skin designs. There's a regular Xbox One X underneath there, but with a special skin applied to give it that unique look. And it's something that you yourself can do if you really want to do it. And that's actually something we did to create our own Red Dead Redemption 2 special edition system. It's actually that one hanging out right back there. And there's a lot of companies that make not only different color skin designs, but also things that you can actually order special customized things. Like we got this wood burning design with a cowboy on it that perfectly fit the style of Red Dead. Of course, it's always great when there's actual official systems out on the market that celebrate games you love that you can buy, and oftentimes they have beautiful designs that would be much harder to do on your own, but never get discouraged if you don't see a game you love being celebrated. There's ways to make it your own. Getting back to our top 3, at 3rd place we have the Project Scorpio Xbox One X. This was the first special edition One X design, and in a way, actually the first One X at all, as these were special launch exclusive designs that you could grab if you bought one as soon as they first came out. And I gotta say, when I first saw it in pictures, I wasn't that wowed. It kind of looked like it just said Project Scorpio on the front and that's it. But there's actually a little bit more going on than that. Along with having the words Project Scorpio in green text in stylized font on the front, the entire design also features this stylized gradient that's very similar to what they did with the Gold Rush later on, but instead of having 2 obvious color changes, this is just a lighter gray to a slightly darker gray, which is really subtle but actually looks great in person, especially if it's set it up in a flat set-top mode. One really nice addition to the system though is not only the limited edition design to the system itself, but also to the controller. In the past, when Microsoft has done special limited run launches like with the Day 1 edition Xbox One, that featured a regular system with a special controller that just featured the words Day 1 edition on them, and that was it. The Scorpio one, on the other hand, comes with a controller that does feature the words on it again, but it's in a much more stylized fashion that I think just looks a lot better. It's also a little smaller, not quite as glaring, and is a complete blackout design. So one of the main noticeable changes you'll see is that the ABXYs are also in black instead of having the usual color design, which I think looks really slick on this. One last little cool bonus to the Project Scorpio edition as well is that with some of these more obvious design changes, it also features a small, seemingly random list of numbers on the side of the system. That's actually the final 2 digits of each year that a new Xbox system came out, starting with the original Xbox in 2001. Again, this is a very subtle special edition. It doesn't shout a lot of its changes out, but I think a lot of the little changes they made not only look good and stylish, but are just an awesome way of celebrating the Xbox's history. Coming in at 2nd place, the runner-up to the best-looking Xbox One X is the Robot White Xbox One. Now, this was technically part of a special edition bundle. This is something that Xbox has done a little bit in that they bundle games with systems with limited run colors, but it's not necessarily something that's actually themed for that game in question. And in this case, this was released as a part of a set with Fallout 76, and in fact, came out quite ahead of the game's release, giving people the chance to play it earlier than most. The Fallout 76 bundle was the first way you can get the system, but since then they have released it standalone, and it's part of some upcoming bundles as well, including NBA 2K20. Now, as simple as it is, the Robot White Xbox One does one very important thing that all the systems beneath it on this list have not done yet: introducing contrast. Yes, the Gold Rush had a little bit of color, but outside of that, all the systems featured here are all very dark designs and just don't really have that much clashing going on, which is something that I really loved about the standard Xbox One S and other One S style systems. So, with the One X line, this is the first one that actually added that difference where you have the black base with the white body, which I admit is a very, very simple change, but I think it makes a world of difference of just making it look like a clean, awesome system. This also serves as another great example of why it was a great idea to move the disc slot from where it was on the One S to where it is now on the One X. Because when you put this side by side with a One S that's in white, I think the One S does a good job of working with the disc slot, but just seeing it on here makes it look so much cleaner and nice. It's not quite as hidden as it is on the all-black design, but I still think it does a great job of playing again with this idea of contrast where you have the black base with the white body. And then we have, of course, our #1 ranked Xbox One X, which should come as no surprise, is the upcoming Gears of War 5 Special Edition Xbox One. We were lucky enough to be able to get one of these early, and it is truly an amazing looking system. And it really speaks volumes because this is the only Xbox One X that's truly something you could consider a special edition system. Yes, they had limited runs and colors like we saw with the Gold Rush and the white, but this is the first one that actually celebrates the specific game that it's tied to. Like with the white One X, we're getting that contrast between the base and body, but instead of just a plain flat white, you have this kind of white with blue accents that has blotch moments to it that makes it look like actual ice, with engravings that create cracks that look like cracked ice designs, and then a slightly submerged Gears logo, which looks so awesome, like it's actually peeking from within the system. Bundled with it is, of course, also a special edition design controller that doesn't perfectly line up in the same theme. It's more focused on the armor designs of the characters, kind of like what we saw previously with the Gears 4 limited edition controllers. One of the nicest little changes to this one, though, is it actually features a real metal emblem on the top middle, which really shows when you see that little bit of reflection on the scratchy metal. Everything about this system just screams premium. The attention to details, not just in terms of the coloring and how the cracks were done, but all the light scratches in the body, the startup sound that it has. And of course, again, that controller. There's just so much going on with the system that none of the other One X designs really have going on. Again, all the One X designs I think look really good, but when it comes to one that's just truly something special, this easily takes the cake as the #1 system. And it doesn't hurt that it's also probably one of the best bundles as well, because not only are you getting the system itself and a controller, but you're getting every single Gears game, except Gears Judgment. So again, you're getting every single Gears game. While this is the latest Xbox One X to come out and the first one to actually have a special edition design, there's also the thought that it might actually be the last one as well. Project Scarlett's already been announced to come out sometime late next year, and while there are still some games left coming out for the Xbox One you should be excited for, it's kind of a weird idea to think, hey, this new system's coming out next year, there's gonna be one more special edition at the very end. Probably not. So, this might not only be the best Xbox One X, it might be the last one. Thanks again to Lilith Games for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to check out the link down below in the description to download and play Rise of Kingdoms today, and use that promo code to get your bonus resources.